wait to just sit down with a nice glass of cola. Why is that door closed? I never ever shut that door. Abby? Luca? Anyone home? Huh. That's weird.
You know, between the people that we've interviewed for this job, I really think we've got to give it to either Neil Warnock or Sam Allardyce. Either one of them would be good, innit? Yeah, I know that Sam Allardyce is your ex-boyfriend, but that's not a reason to not give him the job, is it now, Luca? Alright, I'm sorry. We'll find someone else. Anyway. Oh, Mr. Onesie Burnett, welcome in, mate. Take a seat, innit?
What are you doing in my apartment?
It's okay, mate. Don't be shy. Take a seat, bro. Sit down.
Look, you can't just barge in here and...
Listen, mate, I'm on a packed schedule. Sit down or there's gonna be problems, innit?
Okay. Sorry. That wasn't so hard now, was it? Anyways, thank you for coming to today's interview, fam.
Interview? For what?
To be the Solihull Scarmore's new manager, of course. What else would you be interviewing for, you waste man?
New manager? I own the team.
Yes, but I own you. So that means I own the team now, innit?
No.
Details. Anyways, let's get started with the interview. Question 1. What is your name?
Are you serious?
Do I look like I'm joking, bruv?
Yes.
Well, I'm not, you dick stain. Now answer the question before Luca here starts getting angry.
Onesie.
That's a weird ass name, you know. Anyway, tell me, Walter, why do you want to manage the Scarmores?
I already manage the Scarmores.
Yeah, but, like, why do you want to continue managing the Scarmores, innit?
I don't! I was retired before you signed me up for PPL.
Well, that's not very ambitious now, is it, Wally?
Onesie!
Head roll.
Arrgh.
Right, next question. Who do you think would win in a fight? My dad or your dad?
Your dad.
Yeah, you fucking know it, bro. My dad would fucking murder your dad, innit? Send him off to Hades and all that thing. Alright, well, you've done well so far. These are some decent answers, bro. Just a few more questions. Question 4. Where did Red Sugimori go?
I think he went back to Kobukan Academy.
Really? Because my boys back in Kobukan says he hasn't been seen since him and Detective Striker had a battle in PPL last summer, innit?
Huh?
Nobody's seen Gary Oak since then either, have they, bruv?
I don't know where he is.
I think you're a shit liar, Onesie. You don't want to lie to me, you fucking dickhead. I will make your life fucking hell, fam. Well, all good. If you don't know, you don't know, innit? Is what it is. Just one final question, and then I'll let you go about your day, innit, family?
Okay. Shoot.
Final question. Who is your favourite Vocaloid?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Hatsune Miku.
You should not have said that. You should not have said that.
I feel like I just made a terrible mistake. Luca, calm down. Calm down. We can talk about this.
Fuck it. Run for your life, bruv.
We can talk about this.
What's up, bitches? It's me, your boy, Mr. Onesie Bennett, back at it with week 2 of the Pokemon Premier League. Now, last week we got ourselves off to a fantastic win, taking the 4-0 victory against Gunk and the Mother of Moth herself. And this week we are going to have a bit of a challenge ahead of us once more. We're up against Daya, and Daya is absolutely cracked. Daya, the coach of the Minneapolis Masquerada, her team is absolutely horrible for me to face. We have to go up against Hydrapple, Slowking Galar, and Darkrai, 3 incredible threats that I really struggle to switch into. And honestly, I think having looked at the matchups for me for the rest of the season, this one looks like the most difficult for me to get a result out of. So, honestly, I am expecting a loss in this game. However, Daya herself, she is a wonderful person. She has incredible, immaculate vibes in her content. It's very tarot card themed. She has lots of fun tangents about the stars and the moon, and she's recently competed in a very fun little cup league, and it's been very, very fun to watch. So yeah, make sure you go and check her out. She absolutely deserves a lot more subs and views than she gets. She's awesome, and she's going to absolutely smash it out of the park for the rest of the season. I have no doubt whatsoever. But for now, we've got to try and take her down. Now, Daya's team is very rough for me. As I mentioned, Galarian Slowking, Terra Hydrapple, Galarian Zapdos, Darkrai, Ursaluna, lots of really difficult threats. And for me, I feel like I've managed to narrow it down to a 6 that I think she's going to be bringing. That's going to be Darkrai, Galarian Slowking, Hydrapple, Tinkaton, Ursaluna, and Galarian Zapdos. I do not believe Skeledirge will show up here because I have a lot of ways of hitting it, and my spinner absolutely beats it, and it's fairly slow, and it can be abused by some of my more offensive threats. I don't think Kleavor is going to show. I don't think Rotom Wash is going to show because I feel like they have more awkward matchups than the rest of the things here. But it's very difficult for me to beat this. My team is very physically offensive, meaning that Pokemon like Hydrapple kind of sit on it. Alamamola is another Pokemon that I'm going to have trouble with later on in the season just because it's a fat, physically defensive thing and it has Regenerator, and Hydrapple is very much the same thing but with an offensive element to it too. And I have to really be careful with how I take that thing out. I absolutely predict that thing doing so much work. However, I do have a team, and I do think that I have a chance of getting a victory in this game. And the team that we're bringing this week is going to have 3 debutantes, 3 changes from last week. We are bringing a very fun Terra Electric Citrus Berry physically defensive Poltergeist Grass Wonder, the Trevenant, to be able to switch into Ursaluna and spread status and just do damage to some of the Pokemon on the team. Leech Seed just to be annoying and get some residual health off. We are bringing Meisho Doto with max attack, max HP, bulky free attacks Roost this week. Switches into things, takes hits, forces pressure, and basically allows multi-scale to keep proccing with the Roost. So it was very important that I had some way of curbing the Zapdos Galar's damage, and this was one of the ways I had of doing it, and plus the priority with Extreme Speed is very nice. We have Biwa Hayahide with the Choice Band this week, who's going jolly, 4 attacks, Flare Blitz, Head Smash, Close Combat, Extreme Speed, does what it says on the tin, clicks Head Smash, kills something, or does 50% to a switch in. We're going with Naruto Brian with the Heavy Duty Boots with a Terra Fire this week. Now, Terra Fire is important because it makes me neutral to Zapdos Galar's attacks, and also allows me to become neutral to anything that Hydrapple might want to do outside of Earth Power. Also allows me to take a hit from Darkrai because we're going specially defensive this week with Gunk Shot, Drain Punch, High Horsepower, Bulk Up. So that seemed like the best way to go about it. We have Haru Urara with Rattled Choppleberry this week with Calm Mind, Boom Burst, Glare and Roost. Slight variation on last week. Because I don't believe the Skeledirge will be showing up this week, we have gotten rid of the secondary attack and we've replaced it with Calm Mind to potentially be able to get some sweeps going. And I looked at the damage. Boom Burst at +1 just freaking hurts. So with this investment, we're able to take a Choice Banded Close Combat from the Zapdos and KO it back with a +1 Boom Burst. And the final mon is going to be Saiyan Sky, the Rocky Helmet Skarmory. Very similar to last week, however, we've got Body Press, Roost, Stealth Rock, and Whirlwind. Again, it's just here to potentially need to switch into Galarian Zapdos and Ursaluna if needs be. So those are the 6 Pokemon we're bringing this week. We've got no speed outside of double extreme speed. We have a lot of bulk to be able to try and switch into the likes of Ursaluna and Zapdos. And hopefully we're going to be able to set up with at least one of our 2 Pokemon, being the Okidogi and the Dunsparce, and be able to chunk through the core of Dyer's team here. But yes! How did we get on it? Did we manage to take down this titanically bad matchup, or were we swept away by an informed player who absolutely deserves all the respect that she can get? I guess you'll have to find out. Let's head over to the battle and find out what happened when the Solihull Skarmours took on the Minneapolis Meowscaradas. That was a terrible way of pronouncing it, but I don't care. Let's go. Hello, motherfuckers. It's me, your boy, Mr. Onesie Bennett. Not Onesie Bennett from the present of this video, though, unfortunately, because my video footage decided to absolutely yeet itself into the Shadow Realm. So I'm going to have to do my best Shroom Raver impression and try and do a post-com recording. Shout out to Daya for sending me her footage. She did not have the raw footage, so I get to also do a half Daya impression. So stars are cool. Pantries and pastries and bakeries are cool. Am I doing it right? Probably not. But anyway, you're going to have a post-commentary from me. So, yeah, let's enjoy. So here we are in the battle, and Daya's trainer card is wonderful, by the way. I always respect a trainer with good trainer card. We are going to lead off here with Okidogi. Okidogi is a very, very good lead into Daya's team because it immediately flips multiple matchups with the option of going for the Terastallization into the Terra Fire. As it stands, Daya is going to lead with the Kleavor, and that Kleavor is going to not want to stay in really in front of Okidogi. If it does, it's going to take massive chip, and if it doesn't, then Okidogi is going to have a free turn to hit something. So I figure I'm just going to go straight for a Drain Punch, see what this thing wants to do, because I can then potentially flip the matchup against whatever wants to come in if it goes for a U-turn or if she goes for the hard switch. So we're going to stay in and we're going to click the Drain Punch, as Daya is going to unfortunately miss the Stone Axe, meaning we get absolutely free chip onto this Kleavor, taking it just above half. We don't get the Toxic Chain activation, which very, very sucks, because that would have been very nice to have onto this Kleavor, but it is what it is. Daya is just going to hammer home, click that Stone Axe again, because she figures rocks are very important in this matchup. As we are going to take this opportunity to go for a bulk up and start putting some pressure onto. Now Daya is going to see a +1/+1 Okidogi in front of her and decide I do not want to stay in front of this thing and go out into the Galarian Slowking to take this incoming Drain Punch, which she predicts perfectly. And we also get some information because we find out that this Slowking is Rocky Helmet, meaning it's here to switch into my physical threats, including this Okidogi. So it's not great for us really, is it? Now, this turn is a bit of a 50-50. If I stay in and go for my high horsepower, and it fails to KO, there is a chance I could be taken out by a Psyshock. But if we stay in, click the Terra, and they switch out, we have wasted one of our best switch-ins to the Kleavor. So what I'm going to decide to do is go for the Terra and click the high horsepower, trying to get as much damage onto this Slowking and pressure it for the end game as possible. did not want to risk the opportunity of taking a massive hit to a potential Psyshock. And we're going to see this high horsepower is going to come in and leave this Slowking on 104 HP, which reveals to me this thing's probably a little bit defensive. And that Psyshock is just going to chunk us down to a point where we're fairly manageable. And now we have an awkward situation, because I could go for another high horsepower here just to take this Slowking out, or I could go for a Drain Punch, predicting her to switch out and save this thing for later in the game. Now, as you can see, Daya is going to pull that switch out into the High Dragon, expecting me to want to just finish off this Slowking and take the early 6-5 lead. I, on the other hand, am very, very unsure of what to do on this turn, and I'm ultimately going to click another high horsepower, just attack what's in front of me, and Daya is going to call this absolutely correctly. The high horsepower goes in, it connects with the Hydrapple, we don't get the Toxic Chain again, and Daya has completely, utterly predicted that. And this turn around, she is going to pull another hard switch back out into the Slowking Galar as we just go for the strategy of hitting what is in front of us and going for the gunk shots. And we're going to go for a gunk shot right into this Slowking Galar as it gets its regenerator back. And she is pivoting around us absolutely perfectly. And this is not a good spot for me to be in. I am technically on the front foot, but my Okie Dokie is taking a huge amount of chip in the process, and it's leaving us a little bit weak for some of the late game potential breaking we might want to do with it. So, Daya is getting very big chip onto me and preventing me from getting Drain Punches off on anything. She's playing this very well at the start. Now I'm going to opt to go for another bulk up here, thinking that Daya might choose to switch out and let this Slowking Galar go, but once again she calls it perfectly, going for a Sludge Bomb which just doesn't land the KO. And it means we are in now a tough situation where we are forced to either go for a double down or make a prediction, and it's just not a good time for anyone involved here. So if I go for high horsepower here, I'm high horsepowering into a Hydrapple, or I'm high horsepowering into this Slowking Galar and dying to Rocky Helmet. So I've basically got a 50-50 call here. Am I going to click that high horsepower, or am I going to click the gunk shot? And we are going to choose to go for the gunk shots, which luckily does take out the Slowking Galar. Just wanting to take it out, potentially cover the Hydrapple switch on the high horsepower. And gunk shot was the play for me, because it meant that I could take out this thing without having to physically hit it. But it does unfortunately mean we've traded our Terramon for a defensive pivot, which is not a great situation to be in. Now Daya's response to this is going to be to bring out the Darkrai, because, well, it's a Darkrai. It basically just cleans up and revenges everything here. And that's not good for me. I have to now choose my switch into this incredibly offensive threat and try to pivot around without losing too many pieces. And I don't have too many ways of switching into this thing. Now in the end, I am going to choose to make that switch, and we're going to go out into Haru because she is the most specially defensive mon on the team and one of the only things I can think of that wants to switch into anything that this Darkrai can do, as it's going to reveal Charge Beam and Miss. So we're getting very lucky with two 90% moves already so far. That's pretty good for me, pretty sucky for Daya. But even if that Charge Beam had connected, it would have just given me information about the Darkrai set, and it wouldn't have been able to KO me afterwards. So in the end, it's a bit of a mixed bag. That one didn't have as much impact as the initial Stone Axe miss did. So yeah, we have our big guy out in front of the big attacker, and we've now got the momentum back in the game again. Now Daya's response to my Dunsparce, to Haru Urara, is going to be Femme Fatale the Tinkaton, which makes total sense. It's a very annoying Pokemon. It switches into my Boom Bursts very nicely, as we choose to Glare it, just get some status going on something on Daya's side of the field. Tinkaton is always a problem in every game I ever face it in. It always does very annoying things, spreads status around, gets rocks up, knocks items off, clicks Encore, and does big damage with Gigaton Hammer, and it does one or two of those things guaranteed every game. And I am very worried about it doing the exact same here. So I've now got to pivot into this monster while trying not to get disrupted by it as much as possible. Now I am going to choose to switch out of Haru Urara and go out into Saiyan Sky, the Skarmory. And while I can't actually touch this Tinkaton very much at all, the Tinkaton cannot do much to me in return either, but it is going to choose to set up Reflect, and that is awful for me, because now Daya has the freest of switches out into Skeledirge, and Skeledirge absolutely murders my Skarmory here. Now, I am going to choose to get up my Stealth Rocks. It's one of the only things I could do in front of that Tinkaton. I couldn't really hurt it. It didn't have an air balloon that I could have popped, and it had a Reflect Up anyway. So now I'm sat in front of a Skeledirge, and as you can see, this Skeledirge is going to immediately click the substitute and lock in on that move, meaning that my Skarmory has now unfortunately become setup fodder for this massive, massive problem. Now in my head, I still need Skarmory around to potentially help deal with the Hydrapple and potentially to get a body press off onto the Darkrai later. So I'm going to choose to go out into Meisho Doto as one of the only things I have that really wants to take fire moves. I risk the fire Will-O-Wisp here, which that was always a threat in the back of my mind, so it was a risky switch, hence why I took a little bit of time on it. But as we saw, this substitute is going to go up and mean that this Skeledirge now has a completely free turn to try and activate and break my multi-scale. So Daya is very expertly just positioning herself in a way where I am not able to get any crazy damage off, and positioning herself in a way where she can weaken my threats to a point where she's able to win late game. And that's scary. That's very scary. So we're going to go for the Earthquake and break this sub after Daya reveals that she is actually faster than my Dragonite. Means she's got a lot of speed investment. And that is a problem, because now I can't reliably really go into anything to outspeed and revenge KO this thing, right? Because if it outspeeds my Dragonite, it's going to outspeed my Okidogi, it's going to outspeed my Dodun, it's going to outspeed my Skarmory. I don't have a way to reliably go in and check it. We've tried to go for a bulky offense game this week, and it's backfiring a little bit because of a speedy Skeledirge. How frustrating! Now it's at this point I have decided that it's time for me to let Okidogi go. Naruto Brian is too low health to reliably be able to do anything here. But the damn Skeledirge is going to go for another bloody substitute as I try to sack off the Okidogi. And that's awful for me. That is absolutely dreadful, because now it just gets a free hit, and I'm going to have to go into something else afterwards to try and revenge it from there. So this thing's absolutely murdering me right now. It's causing me all sorts of grief, and we're about to lose our Okidogi to it, because as I said, it outspeeds me. And that is just going to be a free torch song for it. It's going to take it out. And that's my Terramon down, and the score's evened up here at 5-all. Now, unfortunately for me, one of the only things I have on this team that can actually break this substitute and outspeed this Skeledirge is Biwa Hayahide, the Arcanine Hisui. And of course, sitting in front of a Skeledirge that has revealed that it has Torch Song, that it has Substitute, and it has Shadow Ball, there's always a risk of that final move in the back being either Alluring Voice or Earth Power. I'm running the risk of it having the Earth Power and taking me out here. And we're going to reveal the Head Smash here. We're going to bust through that Substitute as the Skeledirge is going to lock itself into Shadow Ball. Now it's a +1, and there is a chance, depending on my investment, that this could KO. But it doesn't quite get the roll. I'm not sure if it was a roll, but it doesn't take me out, meaning I'm free to click Head Smash again. And Daya has not seen whether this Arcanine is Scarf or Banded yet. So she doesn't really have any way of switching into this thing reliably whatsoever. So she's got a choice to make here. Does Daya let this Skeledirge go down? It's busted through my team. Or does she save it? She's going to opt to switch out hard into Femme Fatale the Tinkaton, gambling on the fact that I am indeed choiced in some way. as we are just going to go for another head smash through the reflect and bash right into this Tinkaton and do a huge amount of damage. That was the final turn of reflect, meaning this next head smash does have a role to KO this Tinkaton. Do we get it? Not quite. And it gets up another reflect. And that's awful, because now we have another either 5 or 8 turns to deal with that Skeledirge, the Darkrai, the Kleavor, and the Hydrapple all under a reflect. And that sucks so much. Now we're going to go for another head smash and miss. And then the Tinkaton is going to get paralyzed in what is officially known as the world's most impactful turn. We're just going to go straight for another head smash straight afterwards, take out this Tinkaton. And that miss, that turn actually was slightly useful, because what it did was it wasted an extra turn of reflect. That might come into play later, meaning I might be able to get some physical hits off against some of the more offensive Pokemon. Now, Dire's response to this is to go out into Bradley, still unsure whether I'm scarfed or banded, and I have no choice. I have to just attack what is in front of me. And what is in front of me is a physically defensive Hydrapple behind a reflect. I'm not expecting this to do much damage at all, but if I switch out Arcanine, she's dead upon re-arrival. So I just have to press my advantage home as much as possible right now. And we're going to aim to go for that head smash and do nothing. But the Hydrapple is going to take this opportunity to go for a nasty plot, meaning I get another head smash off. And that's going to potentially put this thing into range of something else later, but it misses. And that sucks because it gets a free Giga Drain, and we've missed 2 head smashes out of 5. So that kind of sucks a little bit. I do not appreciate that whatsoever. Now that second head smash miss might not have seemed that impactful, because it was behind a reflect, but unfortunately now I don't actually have anything I can go into that can reliably take this thing out. And the only thing I have that can even have a chance of taking a hit is Grass Wonder. Grass Wonder the Trevenant was brought as an Ursaluna switch-in. The Ursaluna did not show up. So this thing was a dead weight. It was a dead tree. It was a absolute waste of a slot. So I'm just going to go for a Poltergeist and do 4 damage. It did absolutely nothing. It's going to go for a Draco and take us completely out. And that's another Pokemon that this Hydrapple's just claimed in front of. Massively annoying Pokemon. But it is now back at neutral special attack. And I'm desperately trying to think of ways that I can deal with this Pokemon without getting completely murked by it. And the only way I can think to do so is to go out into Haru Urara, the Dunsparce, who's going to take some rocks, but is going to be able to outspeed and hit this Hydrapple on the special side, which is very important, because it's physically defensive, behind a reflect. I need to have a way of hitting it on the weaker side, and Haru is my only way of doing so. So I'm going to immediately lock into Calm Mind here, in front of this thing, and try to set up and do some damage. That's exactly what comes to play. We're going to go for a Calm Mind as this Hydrapple is going to go for an attack into us, into a Giga Drain, and it's not going to do much to us whatsoever. Because, as I say, we're a damn Dunsparce. We're bulky, we can take a hit from this, and now we can start putting out some big pressure with Boom Burst. Now we actually have a really weird sequence here. My Haru does not actually have any way of hitting the Skeledirge. We've gone with Mono Normal this week because I didn't think it was going to show up. So I cannot reveal the Roost. As much as I would love to click it versus some Pokemon, I cannot reveal it. As Dire's going to go out into this Kleavor, it's going to eat this Boom Burst and go down. The Stealth Rocks are going to put it in range, so I guess Skarmory did a thing. But as I say, I cannot ever reveal that I have Roost. I have to keep the threat of Earth Power or Hex alive in Dire's head, otherwise she just goes into Skeledirge, sets up another substitute, and it's basically GG from there. So I just have to keep clicking Boom Burst until the Skeledirge comes back in. If it doesn't come back in, then we absolutely have a chance of just killing whatever's in front of us. But if it does, we have to immediately go out and play back on the defensive again. So this next segment of the game is completely reliant on what Daya's response to. And Daya is going to show that she is confident that this Hydrapple is going to be able to take the Boom Burst and do some damage back to us. So we have already told what our game plan is. We have no other option other than to just click Boom Burst and pray to the gods of Pokemon that we have enough damage to take this thing out. And pray to the gods of Pokemon she does not catch on to the fact that we do not have any other attacking moves. So we're just going to lock into Boom Burst and pray. So Haru goes for the Boom Burst and it lives on 34 hit points, meaning that this Hydrapple is able to get a Draco Meteor off. That head smash miss into the Hydrapple earlier actually coming into play and proving slightly costly there because we've just got a bit more chip onto the Dunsparce. Would it have mattered for that specific moment? Possibly. But it does mean in this moment that we have to play ever so slightly differently in this endgame than we would have liked. We're going to go for a second Boom Burst, take out this Hydrapple, and now it's the Dunsparce versus a Darkrai and a Skeledirge. Now Daya's play here is going to be to go into the Darkrai, going straight out into the Dreamer. And because Haru did take that Draco Meteor from the Hydrapple earlier in the game, it is now in range of this Dark Pulse. We have no other option here than to go for the Boom Burst regardless and just try and hope and pray that this thing decides to get greedy and go for a nasty plot. It's going to go for a Dark Pulse and it is going to take us out. So that's mighty unfortunate. 90% accurate moves, not my friend apparently. And it means we have Saiyan Sky and Dragonite versus Darkrai and Skeledirge. So this is still either player's game at this point. There are damage rolls that could come in that could throw the game in either direction. There are outplay potential. There's still some tech hidden up both of our sleeves that could potentially win this game for either side. It's just about who can activate them and get them to do the things at the right moment. Now my play here is going to be, I'm thinking, do I go into Dragonite or do I go into Skarmory first? If I go into Skarmory first, I have every chance of potentially living a Dark Pulse after this rocks. We have a little bit of investment on, so there is every chance that if this is timid Dark Pulse with Life Orb, we could live and get a massive, massive body press off onto this Darkrai and potentially still be able to 1v1 the Skeledirge afterwards. So it's still either player's game. Depending on Daya's set, this was a roll in my favour to live. Now Dark Pulse could also potentially flinch us. She could go for a Will-O-Wisp to try and chip us down a little bit more and prevent the damage dealt from the body press from being as significant. But the Dark Pulse is her most consistent way to take out Skarmory this turn. So this is going to come down, does Skarmory live this Dark Pulse and get this big body press off onto the Darkrai? So it goes for the Dark Pulse, and it does take us out. And that sucks massively, because as you've seen in the footage, Daya's Darkrai has Will-O-Wisp. I don't know that in this moment of the game. So I'm still thinking, I still have a chance. I just need to be able to kill this Darkrai in 2 moves. If I go for a Dragon Claw, potentially I can kill it with an extreme speed afterwards, and then I still have a chance of living a hit versus the Skeledirge if it doesn't have the alluring voice. So I'm going to go for Dragon Claw here, not knowing that this Will-O-Wisp even exists. And unfortunately, it's going to land. We've already revealed that we're Heavy Duty Boots, so we're not Lumberry. I think this game, unfortunately, is over. If she was Ice Beam, this game was also going to be over. We're going to go for Roost here, actually, rather than Dragon Claw, because I wanted to see whether I took it. Probably wasn't the play in hindsight, but it is what it is. So yeah, I'm going to go for Dark Pulse on me this turn, as we're going to just hit it with the Dragon Claw. and play out this end game, trying to get this 2-0 loss down to a 1-0. It's going to take Life Orb recoil. We're going to go for the Dragon Claw. Potentially, if we'd gone for that Dragon Claw on the previous turn, we might have been able to have enough health left to live a hit from the Skeledirge, but it was not likely. We're going to go for Extreme Speed, pray to the gods of Pokemon that we're able to take it out. We are not. But the Darkrai is going to take itself out to Life Orb, putting us down at a narrow 1-0 loss. And I say narrow because that could still have gone anyway. Now, post-reflection thoughts. I went into this game expecting a loss. Daya had Galarian Zapdos and Ursaluna, 2 Pokemon that I just did not switch into. I heavily prepped for those 2, thinking this is my best way to have a chance of switching into those, and it just didn't work out on the day. If I'd brought Greninja, maybe potentially with a Choice Scarf, things could have been different. If I'd potentially brought one of my other big threats, maybe we had a chance. I decided to go a bit bulkier this week, and unfortunately, Daya brought an incredible Heat Tech in that Skeledirge, which cost me the game. So, all in all, I'm not too disappointed with how this one came out. It could have been a lot worse, but we do unfortunately take the L. That's going to put us on 1-1, +3, I believe. So 1-1, lost 1, and next week we go into a game against a bit of an unknown in Vandy. And Vandy, from what I've seen, looks like a very, very good player. They do not look like a new draft league player, and I think that one's going to be a very tough game. But GG's to Daya. You'll see that her layout that I've been using is absolutely wonderful. She's awesome. Go check her out. All of her links and stuff will be down in the description below. And I will catch you motherfuckers in the next game. See you later, bitches. Bye-bye.